Hi, I'm Vicky Coombs, and I am a transformational coach who works specifically with people who are multi-potentialites, because I am one. So I'm in my 5th career, and that career looks like best-selling author, public speaker, leadership consultant, embraining trainer, and transformational coach. And what I'm here to talk to you today about is that thing that happens when your friends and family just don't get it, right? And maybe that you feel like they're hassling you or they're putting you down in some way because they're not supportive. Your perception is that they're not supportive of you and your latest passion or your newest job change or the move you're making from one place to another, and it might be down the road, across the country, or to a different country. They may not be, you may perceive that they're not being supportive of your lifestyle choices. So there are a couple of things to do about this for yourself, because the only person that you can change at all is you. And that is the starting point of making any difference to them. So the first thing you need to do is to really sit down with yourself and focus on how much you value all that makes you a multipotentialite. The secret powers, the strengths that we have that are unique to us because we are multiple potentialites. Our ability to see patterns in complex situations that others are sitting there going, ah. Our way of integrating and bringing these theoretically completely different concepts into a place where they become congruent and create something even more amazing and beautiful that's never been created before. There's so many strengths that we have that others don't, that come naturally to us because we're multi-potentialites. So you need to learn to sit down and really look at what do you value about yourself. And the other part of that is focusing on what you are achieving every day. So often we focus on what we haven't done rather than what we actually have done. So rather than focusing on all the projects you haven't finished, what have you finished? What do you know? What learning have you gained? What skill sets, like massive skill sets, do you have? Be really aware of those and practice being confident in them. So having done that and really built on that, and it is a continual thing to just come back to, because we all have times of self-doubt, we all have times of going, ah, and the last year has been like that for so many of us, right? We all have those moments. So that's the first thing, is really looking at that. The second thing is, whoever these people are in your life, is putting yourself in their shoes for a minute. When they say these things to you, when they come to you and seem to be less than supportive of your latest brilliant idea or your newest move in your career or the fact that you're going to go somewhere else, where are they coming from? They're coming from a place of caring about you. They're also coming from a place where they themselves have their own value base around what is security. And by security, I mean what they're concerned about if you're just about to change careers or move to a different part of the world or take up yet another hobby and drop something you've already been focused on for the last 6 months in great passion and you've got a new one. They're concerned about your financial security. They're concerned about your health. They're concerned about your security when it comes to your social networks and the people that have your back. Those are the kind of things they're concerned about. So you need to be putting yourself into that place, that's where this concern is coming from, this place of caring, rather than assuming or perceiving that they're out to get you. Now the other piece around that is assuming they don't actually get you. And I have a story to share there. So my mother, who lives in New Zealand, and I live in the UK, when I launched my business 4 or 5 years ago, I invited her to be over here for that launch. I timed the launch for when she was coming over to visit. And I asked her if she would speak at my launch. And I'd already spoken to her at length about who I am, what I'm doing, and particularly about my coaching for multi-potentialites. And she said yes, and I discovered later that she was quite concerned about that, about saying yes. And on the flight over, and she shared this in the speech she gave actually, on the flight over, she spent time considering what I'd been talking about, who I was, how I showed up, and what my business was about, and who my clients are. And her initial thing around with that was, I just don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it. But then she let go of that. And when she let go of that, she then started looking at herself and the decisions she'd made in her life and how those had shown up. And the more she did that, the more she resonated with Multipotentialite. Because as she looked at it, her switches and changes and need for variety and change and following her passions had been a lot more gentle than mine. And yet it was there. So the more she looked at it, the more she resonated. Mum was about 70 when she acknowledged she was a multi-potentialite. So here's the thing. They may not be getting it either because they just don't get it because they're not like it at all, right? There are people who are not like us at all in the world, and that is awesome. But they may be people who have spent so much of their life not feeling that they can be, or that it's okay to be, that they have bottled it down. So there are some things to consider when you're thinking about where these people are coming from who are expressing concern about your choices. And then the third part to this, having looked at who you are and valuing who you are and practicing being confident about the amazing skill sets and strengths that you bring into the world, you then need to come into these conversations without apology. Stop apologizing for who you are. Don't go in with excuses as to why you're making a change again, or that you're shifting to a different place, or that you're going to change jobs, or that you have a brand new thing you're passionate about. Go into it with enthusiasm, with some logic behind what you're going to be doing and how you're going to do it. But also don't look to them necessarily for support. Or if you do want support from them, be specific about what kind of support you need from them or would like to receive from them. And just invite them to be a part of your world, even if it's only in a small way. Now, I know this is hard, and there are a couple of things I want to say. One of them is, if you find that these friends and family are not coming from a place of caring about you, like genuinely caring about you, and what they're really trying to do is to cut you down, stop having them in your life. And that can be hard, and I completely get that, but for your own mental, emotional, and social health and physical health, you need to let them go with love into their own world. So that's one piece. The other piece, and this is a pro tip. So there are people in your family particularly who it is kind of difficult to completely let go, right? You go to a family event, some sort of big festive thing that might happen every year, or maybe it's every quarter, every month, every week. If it's every week, I would look at how you cut that down, but there's people like that. Let's call them Auntie Maud, right? So you've got your Auntie Maud, and it doesn't matter what you do, what you say, she's not going to get it. Pro tip, when she asks you one of those challenging questions about why you're changing your life yet again, don't answer. Ask her a question about her or her family or something she cares about. Change it. Deflect, deflect, deflect. Because she'll love talking about herself. And if you get her into that, talking about her, she's not going to keep going on at you because you've got her, and just keep her talking about herself and then pass her on to someone else. It's the only way to handle them, because you're not going to change her. You can only change yourself. I hope that's been a little bit helpful. It's a starting point. There's a lot of big stuff in that. That's why we have coaches. Wishing you all the best. Look forward to connecting with you soon. Ka kite anō.